Hi everyone, it's Jane here at the Valley. I'm here to lead you through a Yoga 2 class. And so we'll get our whole body moving, we'll do a little bit of core strengthening and a lot of twists. And this twist should help us to feel really good in our well-being overall with our breath and also our belly, our organs, just help us stay healthy. So I hope to see everybody here soon, but for now we can practice together virtually. All you'll need for this practice is you and your body. If you do have a mat, great. If you like to have something to cushion your knees when you're down on your knees like this or in a lunge, then you can grab a towel or a blanket. So whatever you normally use, you can improvise. We won't need any straps or blocks in particular, but if you know that you like those, a belt or a necktie works instead of a strap. And for blocks, you can always use little stacks of books or something like this, but I'll try to make it as user-friendly as possible. So we'll begin our practice today in a child's pose, and you can do this with your knees together or apart, and stretching your arms out long overhead, allowing the crown of the head to come to the floor. And that'll be much easier if your knees are wide. And taking a few deep breaths. Welcoming yourself into your practice. Really committing yourself to self-care for the hour that we're here. We'll walk the hands over to the right and stretch through the left side of the body a little bit more. Really expanding through the rib cage, opening up space for the breath on that left side. And then come on through center and over to the second side. Using the breath to expand through the ribs and the waist. As you come back to center now, plant the hands, tuck the toes, and we'll go back to downward facing dog. The fingers really spread wide, connecting the whole handprint into the floor. And then bending one knee and then the other, just pedaling out through the feet, opening the backs of the legs. You might also like to take both heels over to the right. This brings you more into that side body stretch. And then heels to the left, just kind of swiveling the feet side to side. And then coming back to center, traditional downward facing dog. Press into the hands, lengthening the tail up and back just a little more. You might be able to straighten the legs, drop the heels. And then walking your feet to the top of your mat, coming to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees and come on up to standing, finding strength in the legs as you reach up through the hands. And then bringing your hands into your heart as you exhale. We'll come into some modified sun salutes. Let's take the arms up over the head on our inhale. Exhale, leading with the heart, fold forward. Stepping both feet back, finding a plank position. And we'll take another breath here, finding a nice wide chest, shoulder blades down the back, strong core, strong legs. And then lower down through chaturanga onto your belly. Point the toes back, find a cobra pose, lifting up on your inhale, and we're going to come back down onto our belly on the exhale. Legs nice and strong, again lifting to cobra, and exhaling lower. Making sure you're tucking your elbows in by your sides, take your shoulders away from your ears, lift the heart, inhaling, and exhaling lower. This time we're going to come up and press back to that downward facing dog. So tuck the toes, hips go nice and high, press back. Next we'll flow between plank and down dog, just warming up the shoulders. So inhale, coming forward to your plank, the chest is wide, and then exhale back to downward dog. 2 more times like that, inhaling to plank. The chest is nice and wide. The chest stays wide as you go back to down dog. Once more like this, inhaling plank. Exhaling down dog. And then walk the feet to the hands, standing forward fold. Making sure the feet are parallel, knees can be bent. And then rising to stand on your inhale, sweeping up and exhaling the hands to the heart. Let's take a standing side bend, sweeping the arms up over the head. And then you can interlace your hands, all but the index finger knuckle, making that temple mudra. Push down into both feet and come up and over to the right. We'll stay another breath here, lengthening up through the waist. Inhale, coming back upright, and exhaling over to the left. Press down through both feet, the navel gently drawing in and up. Inhale, come on back upright and release, hands to heart. And again, we'll flow through a modified sun salute. Arms overhead, inhale. Exhaling, swan dive, fold. Stepping both feet back, find your plank position, nice wide chest. Tuck your elbows in by your waist for your chaturanga and either come to the floor or come to the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Lift from the belly, downward facing dog, exhaling. A few more breaths here. As you find the strength in your arms, triceps hugging into the midline, and melting the heart back towards the feet. Walk the feet to the hands. Come to your flat back. Inhale, shoulder blades down the back. Nice lifted chest. And then folding deeper down into the legs. Let's stay here. Giving the backs of the legs a chance to open even more fully here. And one more breath. And you're standing forward bend. And bending the knees a bit. Let's come all the way up. Inhale. And exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Again, we'll flow. Inhale, open arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive. Stepping back to your plank pose. Inhaling there. Exhale, chaturanga. Elbows right into the waist. Upward facing dog or cobra. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. And let's take the right leg to the sky. Inhale as you sweep it up. Then place that right foot forward between the hands on an exhale. The back knee comes down, and then we'll sweep the arms forward and up over the head for a low crescent lunge. Taking your belly gently in and up here so the tailbone drops down, hips are square. And then take your armpits back, reaching up to the pinky fingers. Take one more breath here, lifting the chest. And exhale, hands to the mat. You can step to your plank or you can go right to down dog. Optional vinyasa, elbows into the ribs, upward facing, downward facing. And now it's the left leg that floats up, inhaling. Step the foot between the hands, exhale. Back knee comes down, arms sweep forward and up over the head. Stay with your breath even when you hold a posture. Keep that fluid rhythm, inhaling and exhaling. And find that lift of the belly, taking the armpits back. Again, the triceps are hugging into the midline so that the palms face each other. Lifting the heart, inhale, and exhale, hands to the mat, either straight to down dog or take your vinyasa, plank on the in-breath, elbows in close on the exhale. Upward facing, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Take another breath here. Good, then we'll release the knees to the floor here. I'm going to step the right foot out to the right and rise up to kneeling. Coming into gate pose or parigasana. So find that lift of the belly, navel to spine. And then we'll take the left arm up and over into a side stretch here. And you might also feel this a bit through the front of the hip as the tailbone drops. Option to stay here, or you can turn so that you're up on the back of that right heel. It's going to take a little bit more core stability. and then come on back upright. Take the left hand to the floor now. Just gonna make some back strokes with the right arm. Just nice and easy, just mobilizing upper back and shoulders here. Moving in a way that feels good. Open the heart, open the breath. And one more like that. Bring the right hand to the floor now, just underneath the nose. And imagine you're pulling a lawnmower string, taking that left elbow to the sky. And we're gonna try and bring both shoulder blades down and together on the back. So it's a little bit like a cobra pose here in the upper back. This is going to be actually on the exhale. And then as you inhale, reach the the left arm under the right. So you're broadening the shoulder blades. So exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. Remember, both shoulder blades go down. Inhale, reach. Last one here, and then we'll take thread the needle. So taking that left shoulder all the way to the mat, release the head down, and then the right arm goes up. So this modification of having the right leg out allows you a little bit more of that turn through the chest. You can open your heart up towards the sky. You're pressing the back of the left hand into the ground a little bit to leverage your body open. And then release that right hand to the floor. Use it to press yourself back upright. And then we're gonna take both hands just under the shoulders here, nice and strong, and draw the right heel into the glute, and we're gonna circle that knee, just kind of warming up through the hip. Feeling all that musculature around the hip get nice and warm and strong here. And circle the other direction. Okay, and now really strong through your arms, bracing a bit through the core. We're gonna circle again that first direction. And this time we're attempting to isolate the movement in the leg so that you're not shifting your torso to counterbalance the weight of the leg. And you might feel that work in your core. Try it circling the other direction. Only the leg moves. And then set that foot back down. Again, let's go to the other side. The left leg comes out to the left, rising up for Parigasana, navel to spine. Sweep the right arm up and over. As we open up through the rib cage, making more space for the breath, freedom in our breath. Also opening up through the waist, really bringing lots of circulation into the abdomen. Okay, you can flip up onto the heel there if you'd like, a little bit more stability. Engagement to stay balanced there. Okay, and then gently release and we'll come on up. We're going to take that right hand to the floor just under the nose and just make a few back strokes here. And this is just kind of freestyle. Move in a way that feels good and move with your breath. Just mobilizing the shoulders and the upper back, just creating a little bit of warmth. And then we'll bring that left hand to the mat just under the nose here. It's the right elbow coming up now. And notice if your left shoulder is poking forward at all. I want you to bring both shoulder blades down the back. The outer spiral is in both upper arms. And then inhaling, we're gonna reach the right arm under, but we're not coming all the way down yet. Okay, so exhale, shoulder blades together and down. Inhale, shoulder blades broaden. Just warming up that upper back here a few more times. Notice as you bring shoulder blades down the back, it helps the neck stay nice and long. Okay, and then releasing that right shoulder to the floor, head resting down, and then the left arm comes up to the sky. You can press the back of the right hand into the ground a bit more to leverage the chest open. I'm just feeling that nice release, this twist, focusing on the mid and upper back. And with that top arm, it's not so important that the hand goes back, but rather that the shoulder blade is leaning back. And then we'll release, taking that left hand back to the floor. Use it to press yourself up. And I want you to set up your arms as if you were doing plank. So the fingers are spread wide, wrists under shoulders, collarbones are wide, nice long neck. Left heel tucks into the glute, and we're just gonna make some nice free circles. And on this first round, just allow the torso to do what it will. You're just going for freedom of movement here. Circle the other direction a few times. Big juicy circles through those hips, just opening everything up there. Okay, this time, strong core, circling without anything else moving. And you might really feel that through the abdominals. Try the other way. Good. And then releasing both knees down. Good. Press back, downward facing dog. Okay. On your next inhale, let's bring the right leg up to the sky for an inhalation in your down dog split. Exhale, step the foot between the hands. Put on the back foot for warrior one. So you have heel to heel alignment here. I'm going to bring the arms forward and up overhead. And we want to keep the outer edge of that back foot sealed down. Okay, and then just move to squaring the hips until they stop. All right. Good. And then in this position, we're going to do a little bit of upper back strengthening. So inhale, stretch up. And then exhale, bring the shoulder blades together and down the back. Let's do it again. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, squeeze. Once more, inhale, stretch. Exhale, squeeze. Good. This time, taking arms over the head and then interlacing the hands behind the back. You can keep your elbows bent and just draw triceps towards one another. But notice if you're splaying the ribs out and try to gather the ribs back together. Also notice if your chin is jutting out and try to lift the base of the skull up and back. Keeping that, you can tip forward a little bit or come all the way to ostrich, or sometimes this is called the peaceful warrior. Crown of the head moving towards the floor as the knuckles stretch up towards the ceiling. Still drawing that right hip in underneath you a little bit. And then really strong legs, strong core as you rise back upright, sweeping the arms overhead, and we'll release the hands to the mat. Vinyasa if you like, or rest in down dog or child's. If you're doing the vinyasa, plank, inhale, exhale, elbows in, upward facing, nice strong legs, roll the shoulders back, and downward facing dog. Take the left leg to the sky on an inhale, down dog split. Exhale, step the foot between the hands. Now we'll ground the back foot. It's heel to heel alignment for warrior one, and come on up. Seal down the outer edge of the back foot, and then squaring the hips just as much as you can. You probably won't be perfectly square here, and that's okay. All right. Now we'll take those upper back strengthening movements. Exhale, the elbows come out wide and the shoulder blades draw together and down. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale. And again, inhale, reach. Exhale. And once more, inhale, reach. Exhale. This time, let's bring the hands behind the back and clasp, put the opposite thumb on top. And you won't necessarily straighten the elbows, so first I'd like you to draw triceps towards one another, feel the upper back engagement, and then from there, begin to stretch the arms long, maybe. Now, draw the ribs together, find your abdominals, and then lift the base of the skull up and back. You can tip forward halfway or all the way. Crown of the head towards the floor, knuckles stretch up towards the sky. Taking a few breaths here. Keep wrapping that left seat underneath you a bit. Then we're going to get super strong in the legs and core as we come all the way back up through. Arms overhead, inhale, and hands to the mat on your exhale. Plank pose, inhale, the neck is long, elbows into the ribs, exhale, neck stays long, inhale, and exhale, down dog. Bending the knees, look between the hands, step or hop, feet to hands. Come to your flat back on an in-breath and fold in, staying in your folding forward position for a few more breaths. Bending the knees, let's rise up. Inhale and exhale. Hands to heart. Okay, let's take chair pose, making sure that the feet are parallel. You might like to bring the big toes and knees together here. And be sure that the knees are not coming forward. Just sit back into the heels. Arms can be in front of the body if it's too much for the shoulders. Up overhead. Allowing some heat to build in the legs here. Inhale and forward fold. Good. Stepping back, you can take your vinyasa if you'd like, or you can go right to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we'll bring the right leg to the sky, and this time we're going to let that hip really fly up into the sky. So go for height here, like you're gonna poke a hole through the clouds with your right foot. And if you'd like, you can bend the knee, let that foot hang back behind you, helping to open up through the waist and the hip flexor here. And then re-squaring the legs in your down dog split. Inhale there. Exhale, place the foot between the hands. And we're going to come to a warrior 2. So ground the back foot at a 45 and then come up and around for warrior 2. In this position, you have heel to arch alignment, as if you're on a balance beam. Big outer spiral through that front leg. Get nice and wide through the stance. Get low in the hips. We're going to take a side angle modification, just the elbow to the knee here, and sweep the left arm long over the ear. And lengthening all the way through that side body. Good, and come on back up. We're going to flip that front palm up and reverse our warrior. Stay low in the lunge. You want that front knee to point straight forward. So bring it towards the pinky toe, open it up. This is a side stretch more than a back bend. Lengthen through your waist. Okay, and then come on all the way up. And now we're gonna straighten that front leg. Heel toe the back foot in slightly so you have more of a triangle here, equilateral triangle, and come into your Trikonasana. So reach out over that front leg, hand to shin, ankle, or foot. Try not to press the knee into a locked position, so the shin should press back into the hand, ball of the foot presses into the floor. And let's bring that top hand to the back of the head and just lean back into that hand. Keep the ribs knitted together a little bit, abdominals engaged. And then tuck your tricep in by your cheek, really deepen that armpit, and you can extend the arm long up over the head, getting even more side body length. Now check out what's happening in that bottom shoulder. Can both shoulder blades go down and support the lift of the heart? Strong legs rising all the way back upright. Let's take our warrior 2 again, and then cartwheel the hands to frame the front foot. Vinyasa if you'd like, or go right to down dog. So inhale, plank, exhale, chaturanga, upward facing on the inhale, downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg to the sky now, and this time you're gonna allow that hip to fly up, going for height here. Still press into both hands. I don't mind if you let one shoulder dip down or not. You can keep them square or twist, whatever feels good. Just finding that opening through the belly and through the hip flexor. You can bend the knee if you'd like, but the knee should stay high. Okay. And then re-square the hips, lifting the legs straight up, and on your exhale, foot places between the hands. Ground the back foot at your 45. You have heel to arch alignment here, and then it's warrior 2 now. Turn. Finding a nice wide stance, deep lunge. Big outer spiral through that left thigh. Take a modified side angle, elbow to knee. Top arm sweeps up and over the ear. And feel that your tailbone is reaching to the back heel. Your navel's drawing into the spine. Lengthening through the side body. Steady, deep breath. And then coming to your reverse warrior. So come on up, that front palm flips up and goes back. Keep the front knee pointing straight forward. Lengthen up and out of the waist. Good. And then come on all the way up. We'll take that back foot in a bit and take Trikonasana, reach forward, and then hands to 12 and 6. So remember, you don't want to force the knee into a locked position. Press the shin into the hands, ball of the foot into the floor. This bottom hip is still wrapping underneath, big outer spiral there. And then we'll take that top hand to the back of the head and just lean back. Okay, so you want to find the opening across your chest without losing the integration in your core, so ribs together, belly to spine. All right, and then bring your tricep in towards your cheek. Tuck your elbow in. Deepen your armpit, so plug the arm bone into the shoulder socket. And from there, sneak the arm up long over the head, so that shoulder blade is still staying really integrated on your back there. Finding a big long side stretch. And then super strong legs as you come all the way back upright. Sink down into your warrior two. Inhale there. And exhale, cartwheel the hands to the floor. Plank pose on your in-breath. Wide open chest, long neck. Elbows in for chaturanga. And inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing there. Keep your arms nice and strong, melting your heart towards your feet. Good. Bend the knees, look between the hands, step or hop feet to hands. Come to your flat back on the in-breath. Fold forward into the legs, exhaling. And then let's take that chair pose again. Sit down, sit back, arms up overhead or in front is fine. Just palms turn towards one another. Sitting low, sitting back. And then as you come to stand, we're gonna give a tiny little back bend. So drop the tailbone, lift up, and then bring the hands in to the heart center. Good. Let's flow again. Arms over the head on your inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Flat back, inhaling. Exhale, chaturanga. You can step or hop back. Upward facing on your in-breath. Exhale, downward facing. We'll bring the right leg to the sky on the inhale. Step the foot between the hands, coming again to warrior two. And this time, you can either take your modified side angle, like we did before, elbow to knee, or perhaps you can bring the right fingertips to the floor on the inside of the foot so that your shoulder and your knee press into one another and provide leverage so that you can rotate the torso open. Now, if you have a block or a book or something, you can use that instead of bringing the hand all the way down. All right, and then let's go for a half bind. The top hand comes behind the back, and you can either rest it on the sacrum or the hip, or crawl the left hand onto the top of the right thigh there. This can be done even in the modification. If you do feel like you're low in the hips and you want a full bind, take the right hand under the thigh and see if you can clasp hands. Those of you who have a pretty deep bind, you're going to want to take the right hand to the left wrist. The wrapper is the grabber. Bring that top chest back. Keep the crown of the head reaching long away from the tailbone. Oh yeah. And then so strong as you come back to your warrior two and straighten the front leg. We're going to repeat that triangle, but stay wide in the legs this time. Okay, take that top hand to the top hip and just look down. I'm going to bend into that front knee. Step the back foot in halfway and set up for Ardha Chandrasana. Fingertips to the floor, grounding down into that right leg, and making the left leg, the flying leg, just as active as the standing leg, reaching out from the pelvis to the heels. If you'd like, you can take the top arm up to the sky, you can look to that top hand, and then bring the feet together, standing forward fold. Bend the knees, chair pose, inhaling there. Exhale, sit deeper. As you come to stand, tiny little back bend. Inhale, drop the tailbone, and exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms over the head, fold forward, flat back on the inhale, and then exhale all the way to chaturanga. You can step back or hop back, elbows in. Upward facing on your inhale, exhale to the downward facing dog. Okay, left leg to the sky on your inhalation, and then step the foot forward between the hands, exhale. Coming to your warrior two once again. Nice wide stance, big turnout for that front leg. Okay, either repeating the modified side angle, elbow to knee, or taking that left hand, fingertips to the floor on the inside, the big toe side. And I like that variation because you can use the elbow into the knee to help rotate the rib cage open from there. Okay. But balancing that with some engagement through the core, so don't splay too much in the ribs. Keep your center, keep your steadiness. Tailbone reaching to the back heel. Okay, and then top hand can swim back behind you, going for the half bind, or some of you taking that full bind. Now, what's going to be tempting here if you're taking the full bind is for that left hip to swing out behind you. So we're going to try to take that left seat underneath us so that the tailbone is still reaching to the back heel. This is where your Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha are going to come in handy. That's the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals drawing in and up. Feel that the tailbone and the crown are reaching away from one another. Send that top chest back. Okay, and find all of your strength in your belly and your legs, returning, straighten the front leg. And we'll take a wide triangle, reach forward, take the left hand to the shin or ankle, top arm up, just find your breath here. All right, take that top hand to the hip and keep the chest open, just look down. And then we're gonna bend into that front knee, find Ardha Chandra. So we're gonna take the left fingertips to the floor, a little bit in front of the toes and out to the pinky toe side a little bit, so it's right under your shoulder. And then that right leg is gonna fly, and we're gonna really kick out through the heel. We're trying to stack the hips open here. Stay steady in your breath. And if you can stack the chest open, maybe that top arm goes up. You might even look up to that top hand. Find one more breath there. And then release the feet together. Just come to your standing forward bend from there. Take another breath there, inhaling. And exhale, fold. Those of you who have a lot of flexibility in a deep forward fold, instead of lifting and spreading the sits bones, actually draw sits bones towards one another slightly. You're going to feel that as a little bit of a hollowing through the lower belly. There's that Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha again. But those of you who are a little tighter in the legs, I do want you to send those inner thighs back. Try to tilt the pelvis forward. Okay. Bend the knees a bit. Come to standing. Sweep the arms up and over the head. And as you exhale, hands to the heart. All right, so now we're going to take tree pose with some variations. Stand on your left foot, and we're going to turn that right knee out, and the sole of the foot is coming to the inner thigh, so I'm mirroring you again here. And if you can't quite take it up there, then bringing the foot to the calf is a really nice alternative. Squeezing between the foot and the leg, both sides hug in and hold one another. Pushing down into the standing leg like you're growing roots into the earth. Tailbone dropping. And feel free to stay right here, or for a challenge, I'm going to rest the right hand on the right thigh and bring the left arm up and go for a bit of a side bend. This one is deceptively difficult, so go slowly, small increments. Keep your abdominals engaged. You can find a mudra, hand position, index and thumb tip connect. And then nice and slow on your way back up, strong through the waist, and bring the hands into heart center. Good. Release the feet to the floor, and we'll take the same pose on side two. Standing on your right foot, bring the left foot into the inner thigh or the calf. And we need the leg and the foot to hug in with equal opposite pressure. Tailbone dropping down, low belly strong, rooted through the standing leg. Feel free to stay here or rest the left hand onto the knee and sweep the right arm up and over. So the trick is to find that openness through the waist and the lung, but to keep steady and strong in the core, to keep a little bit of that engagement, that containment through the center. You can connect index and thumb tip for Chin Mudra, sometimes called Gyan Mudra. And then nice and slow on your way back up, bring the hands to the heart and return the foot to the earth. Nice. All right, flowing again, arms over the head, inhale. Exhaling to fold. We're gonna make our way to plank. And then from here, let's take side plank or Vashisthasana. Big toes come together. Let's bring the right hand under the nose and then roll open onto the pinky edge of your right foot. And it's important to take care of that wrist. We don't want to have the shoulder past the fingers. In fact, you can err on the side of having that wrist a little forward of the shoulder. Okay, tailbone towards the heels, belly drawn in. Those of you who want a little more challenge, you can take tree pose here. The top foot comes in, top arm can sweep up and over just like the pose we just did, lifting the bottom hip up away from the floor. Good, and then releasing, let's vinyasa. Find your plank on an inhale, elbows in, exhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then coming forward to your plank pose again. Big toes together, left hand under the nose, roll open to Vashisthasana. Really getting strong through the side body here. Tailbone reaching towards the heels, so don't forget the bandhas there. And then make sure the standing wrist is okay. You're pressing into the fingers. Nice, and then either staying here, or you can take that top foot into tree, bringing the inner thigh into the foot. You can even sweep that top arm up and over the ear. Bottom hip lifting up and away from the floor. Balancing the strength and the steadiness with this wide openness. Beautiful feeling. Okay, and then releasing the feet. Taking both hands to the mat. Find your wide chest in your plank pose. And then chaturanga, elbows in. Upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Nicely done. Bend the knees, look between the hands and step or hop. Feet to the hands, come to your flat back, inhaling, and exhale to fold. Okay, let's move into some twists. So we're gonna sit into chair pose again. And I'd like you for this one to bring the big toes together, heels just slightly apart, and squeeze the knees together as well. Sitting low, sitting back. Remember the knees are behind the toes, so your toes should be free to wiggle here. And then we're gonna bring the hands to the heart center and take a twist. This left elbow is gonna go to the right knee. Then press the top hand down into the bottom hand. As you do this, you may notice that this left knee creeps forward a little bit. So draw it back so the knees stay flush with one another. So you're bringing this left hip crease back. Both sides of the waist are long. And keeping that, press the top hand further down into the bottom hand. Lift the breastbone up into the thumbs. And then come back to chair pose. Stay low if you can. Come to stand if you need. Okay, if you came to stand, sit back down again. And then hands to heart, and we'll twist to the second side. So right elbow to left knee. Check in with the legs and the hips. If that right knee is creeping forward, drag it back. Pull that right hip crease back so the legs and lower body all stay square. And then press top hand into bottom hand. So even though you're rotating here, both sides of the waist are equally long. Sits bones reach straight back behind you. Breathe into both of your lungs. Lift the heart up to the thumbs. Come to center, legs should be really warm now. And fold forward, exhaling. Take a breath in through the nose. And you can sigh it out the mouth if you'd like. Good. All right, step it back to your plank pose. If you still feel like you got a lot of energy, feel free to vinyasa. And if you're feeling warm enough, just hinge back to that down dog. And then let's all make sure we have a proper distance between our hands and our feet. Let's shift forward to plank, making sure that your hips are not too high or too low. Okay, shoulders right over the wrists and not forward over the fingers. And then don't move your hands or feet as you lift the hips to down dog. Okay. Bring the big toes together. We're gonna bring that right leg to the sky for down dog split. And we're gonna do a little more core strengthening. So inhale here, the hips stay square for this one. And then exhale, shoulders right over the wrists, knee tucks into the chest. Big exhale there. Inhale, down dog split. Exhale, tuck. Again, inhale up. Exhale, tuck, just coming right down the center. And once again, inhale up. Exhale, right down the center. This time, inhale, down dog split. Step the foot between the hands on your exhale. We're gonna stay on the ball of the back foot now and square the hips. So drag that right hip crease back. And then from here, we're gonna keep those hips square and come up to your high crescent. Okay. Let's take a twist, a side bend first, and then a twist. So you can interlace your hands up over your head, come up and over to your right. If that's too much here for any reason, you can take the hand to the hip. Just really opening through that whole waistline and hip flexor here. Come back up on your in-breath, and then hands to heart, turn and twist, same as we did in chair. If this is too much, you can let that back knee come down. Okay, relaxing the legs and hips a little bit and just focusing on your spinal twist. But if you can, keep that back leg strong. And again, see if you can find the breath in both lungs. Widen both collarbones. Good, those of you who want to take it further, you can bring this shoulder to the outside of the knee and open up. One more breath. Okay, and then you can take a vinyasa. So, finding your plank pose. Exhale to chaturanga. Elbows in. Up dog. And down dog. All right. If you need a little rest, take child's pose for a moment. Really breathe into the kidney area, the back of the waist, the lowest part of the lungs. And then we'll take our plank pose just to measure the distance again, and without moving hands or feet, downward facing dog. So coming to side two, bring your big toes together. Left leg goes to the sky now on your inhale. Exhale to tuck. Knee comes into the chest. Inhale, three-legged. And exhale, tuck. Again, inhale up. Exhale, tuck. Let's do one more. And this time, we step the foot between the hands. Here on the ball of the back foot, really bring this left hip crease back. Stay really square as you come up to your high crescent. Okay, so coming into this side stretch now, you can interlace the hands, coming to that temple mudra, or hand to hip if you'd like. You want to keep the bandhas, keep the abdominals, hips stay really square, and reaching up and over. Stay nice and easy through the jaw and the sides of the neck. Good, then come on back up, bring your hands to your heart, turn and twist. Okay, feel free to bring the back knee down if needed. But if you can, keep it up, keep it strong. Pressing top hand into bottom hand. Breastbone lifting up towards the thumbs. Try to widen across both collarbones and feel the breath in both lungs. Okay, and then if you want to come into that deeper variation, Work the shoulder to the outside of the knee and open up. Take one more breath there. And release. Find your plank pose, vinyasa. Elbows in on your exhale. Upward facing dog, big breath in there. And exhale, down dog. Release the knees to the floor and again rest in child's. I want you to really feel that you're almost bathing the waist with fresh breath, fresh circulation. Okay, and then let's press back to down dog. I'm going to step the right foot between the hands and then step the left foot in a little bit, coming to your pyramid. Now, if you normally use a block or blocks under your hands for this, then try for today bringing your hands onto your shin, and just make sure you're not forcing your knee into a locked position. So press the shin forward into your hands and press the ball of the foot into the floor. Okay, and then when we come into our revolved triangle, bringing so you've got your right foot forward, bringing your right hand to your right hip, okay, or if you're able to keep that left hand down on the floor, feel free to do that. Okay, squaring the hips and then starting to turn from the belly, turn the chest, stack the right shoulder over the left shoulder, and perhaps you can bring that top arm up. Let's try squeezing the feet towards one another. So there's some engagement in the inseams. This will help square the hips. And then press into your bottom hand, bringing the shoulder blades down the back, and just get really long through all the lines of this shape. The limbs get longer, the spine gets longer, the breath gets longer. Just wringing everything out, opening everything up, and we'll release. Good. Let's just switch sides so you can step back into that kind of shortened down dog. Left foot comes forward. The back foot's a little bit turned out. Make sure you're not on a balance beam here. A little bit of width in the stance. This is going to help you to square the hips, so tacking the left hip back a bit. And you may need to bring hands up onto shins here or blocks if you have them. Keep squaring off those hips. And then we'll twist left hand to left hip. Okay, perhaps you can keep the right hand on the floor and start to turn. So the hip draws back first, then the belly turns, the rib cage rotates, chest opens. And for many, the hand on the hip is going to be plenty, just right here. But if you'd like, the top arm goes up. Keep your breath nice and full. Draw the feet in towards one another a little bit. And then press into your bottom hand, bringing both shoulder blades down the back a little bit, almost like the tiniest bit of a cobra pose here. Helping you to find that length in the spine. Long, deep breathing. And then we'll release that top hand down. Good. Step back foot forward, forward fold. Bend the knees slightly, come to stand. And with your exhale, hands to the heart. Just take another breath right here. You might like to close the eyes, just to observe the changes in your body. Okay, from here, we're going to come into an eagle pose, and we'll start with a modified version. Let's bring the left arm across the front of the body, and then take the right arm from underneath and just hug in. And for some, if you've got some shoulder issues, this might be enough. Or the right elbow can come around to the back of the left tricep, and start to bring the fingertips towards the ceiling, palms out. This is another good place to stay, or the right hand can come in to clasp that left palm. Take a moment here, breathing across the upper back. See if you can lift the heart a little bit, and then we'll sit back into that chair, knees behind the toes. And now we'll shift our weight into the left foot and bring the right leg up and over. Anybody with tight hips, you might take a figure 4 here, resting the outer ankle onto the lap. But if you can, inner thighs together. And just tuck the right toes behind the calf if that feels okay in your knees. And if you can, keep those hips square. Standing knee stays right over the ankle. You're sitting low, navel to spine. Steady focus. And then releasing both feet to the floor, and we'll sweep the arms up over the head on the inhale and return hands to heart. Let's move to eagle pose on the second side. We'll start by bringing the right arm across the front of the body, left arm from underneath, just hug in. You might like to stay here, or creating that X position with the elbow under elbow. And maybe the left hand can come in towards the nose and clasp the right palm. And just be here with the upper body for a moment. Okay, and then sitting back into your chair, knees behind the toes. Modified here, you can rest the outer ankle onto the lap and just sit the hips back, or squeezing inner thighs together. And maybe you can tuck the left foot behind the right calf. Just making sure that that standing knee stays right over the ankle. You're sitting back into the hips. The navel's drawing in towards the spine. Steady breath here. And then releasing both feet to the floor. Inhale, open. Hands to heart. All right. So now we'll take a quadricep stretch. Balancing on the right foot, let's hold onto the left ankle just behind you. The knee points straight down at the floor. And we want to try to find that lift in the belly here. So push down in the standing leg, and then notice that left knee. Can you continue to point it straight down? Feel free to stay here or take Natarajasana, or dancer's pose. So you would reach the free arm up, and then keeping your belly engaged, kick straight back. Hips stay square in this version. And slowly coming back upright and releasing the foot back down. We'll come to the second side. So stand on your left foot, hold the right ankle. You're trying to draw the heel in towards the glute for this first bit, pointing the knee straight down as you press down into that standing leg and find the support from the lower abdomen. Okay, and then either staying here or reach the free arm up and start to kick straight back behind you, keeping the hips pretty square here. Balancing that inner support with a wide open heart. Slowly coming back upright and releasing back down. Hands to heart center. Let's flow again. Arms over the head, inhale in. Exhale, we'll fold. And then we'll step back to our plank and lower down to the belly. So we're going to take a few belly down back bends here. First, we'll try locust. So tops of the feet on the floor, firm the thighs, tailbone to heels. Bring the hands behind the back, and if you can, interlace the fingers, stretch the knuckles towards the heels, lifting up. Triceps draw towards one another. Gently tuck the chin in towards the throat and float the base of the skull towards the ceiling. That's actually another bandha there. And then if you'd like, also lifting the thighs off the mat. Lift the inner thighs more than the outer thighs. Lift up, go up, and release. Turn your face to the right and take a little rest. Good. And then you can either repeat that one or take the bow playing pose, or the floor bow. So bending both knees, hold the ankles as you did for dancer's pose. So with this one, I've got my thumbs down so I can draw triceps towards one another. And if your knees walked out to the side when you went for that clasp, try to bring them back in hip width. And pressing pubic bone down towards the mat, Start to kick feet into hands, using the power of the legs to open the heart. And see if you can find that Jalandhara Bandha, that lift of the soft palate here, lifting the base of the skull up and back. And then gently releasing, you can turn your face to the left and rest. So from here, take your hands under your chest and make our way back to down dog and then to pigeon pose. Just pressing back. Take a breath there with a nice long spine. Moving the right leg up. And then as you exhale, bring the right knee towards the right wrist. You're laying the shin, outer shin, to the floor behind your wrists. And then check out that back knee. You're gonna want to have that back knee pointing down so the hips are square. Okay. And then option, you can fold forward here, stack up your fists and rest the forehead. Or if you want a little bit more back bending, quad opening, this is totally optional, you can take that back heel in. Okay, and then the right hand, free hand, comes up onto the thigh, and we're gonna draw the legs in towards one another, scissoring together, kind of like we did in the revolved triangle earlier. So you're actually not dropping down in the hips, you're kind of lifting up here. We need that lower belly engagement. And then to progress here, you would draw the heel further in towards the glute. That's a lot of quad stretch. If your shoulder is up for it, you can turn the fingers to point the same direction as the toes. And you're attempting to turn the chest towards the front of the room. Maybe taking the mermaid, the toes into the elbow, and finding the clasp behind the head. And when you're through, you can release, taking at least a breath or two in the forward fold. And then we'll press back to down dog and go to the second side. So it's the left leg that goes to the sky, and then swing it forward, bringing the outer shin to the floor just behind your wrists, the back kneecap pointing down. And then feel free to go ahead and fold forward here and take a nice long, luxurious hip stretch there. If you're up for a little bit more back bending, take that back heel in towards the glute. And I want you to be careful of the shoulder there. So being just right here, it might be plenty. You're finding that engagement from the pelvic floor, scissoring legs towards one another, and then maybe if your shoulder's up for it, start to bring that heel in closer. And you're trying to turn the chest forward. And then last option to deepen here, the toe comes into the elbow, and you clasp behind the head for mermaid. Be sure to keep that abdominal support. And then as you're ready, release and take a breath or two folded forward. And then we're going to come up for some seated forward folds. So let's stretch the legs straight forward out in front. And you want to feel that your sits bones are connected on the floor. We'll lift up nice and tall, and then exhale, fold. So hands can be on the shins, on the floor. If you can, hold on to the feet, or if you have a towel or something that you can use to wrap around the toes, then you can draw the toes back, getting a nice calf stretch there. Shoulder blades down the back, lifted chest. Okay, and then releasing. Let's take the right foot in, and then we're actually going to bring the right heel in towards the right inner thigh. So we're at a bit of a diagonal here. So rather than turning towards the straight leg, we're leveraging away. So bring the hand onto the inner calf there, and then sweep up and over for Paritta Janu Shirshasana, or revolved head to knee pose. Just opening up through the side of the waist there. We'll come on back, upright, and switch sides. So one heel in, one leg out. Taking the right hand now on the inside of the right leg, using that to turn the torso open and sweep up and over. Sending lots of deep breath into the waist and the side of the ribs. And then come on back up. Let's take one more twist. So we're going to bring the left leg long, right, up and over. Perhaps you can take the left foot around towards the right hip. Try to connect both sits bones straight down on the floor. And if you can't do that, bottom leg stays straight. Hugging around the right knee with the left elbow, turn and twist. And with every inhale, you're growing just a little taller, dropping the hips into the floor, lifting the crown of the head up. So finding all of those bandhas again, pelvic floor, low belly, soft palate, giving you lots of lift. And then keeping that height, turning, spiraling around that long axis. And gently release. Okay, and then we'll switch sides. The right leg long, the left leg up and over. That bottom leg can come around perhaps, as long as both sits bones can connect. And then hugging around the left knee with the right elbow, left hand just behind the back, lifting tall on your in-breath, turning deeply on your out-breath. One more breath here. On your inhale, get even taller, lifting up through the crown of the head, keeping that height. Turn with your exhale. And then inhale, coming back to face forward. We'll take one more forward fold here with the legs wide, lifting up through the chest, and perhaps folding forward a bit. Reach out through the inner ankles. Walk yourself back upright, and we'll make our way onto our back. Okay, one more twist here. We're going to draw the right knee into the chest and see if you can bring that right thigh all the way onto your belly, almost compressing the left abdomen. And then bringing your right knee over towards the floor on the left side. You can open the arms out to the sides, or you can keep that left hand onto the right knee. Not to pull on it, but just a little extra passive weight there. We'll take just one more breath here. Rolling gently back to center. Draw that left knee into the chest and stretch the right leg out long. And keeping the right leg straight, see if you can bring the left thigh all the way onto your belly, giving your abdomen a little bit of a compression there. Low back releases down into the ground. And then bringing that left knee towards the floor on the right. And you can just rest that right hand onto the left knee. Releasing the belly, releasing the spine. Gently come on back to center. And just one last time, hug both knees into the chest. And then extending the legs out long for Shavasana, relaxation. And turning the palms to face up, walk the shoulder blades in under your back. take a moment to make yourself comfortable. And then start to let everything go. Releasing through your face, soften the eyes, soften the mouth and jaw. Melt through your neck and shoulders. And soften through the arms and hands. And then feel the breath moving at the heart, releasing and relaxing there. Soften the belly and unwind your lower back. Melt the hips. Release through the legs, all the way to the soles of the feet, letting everything go. Now opening your attention to include the whole body all at once. Wide open. Soft attention, letting be. And feel free to stay and rest longer. And as you're ready, begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make your way up to seated. Once upright, bring your palms together in front of your heart and just take a moment of gratitude for this practice. Thanking yourself for making the time. Can we really use this practice to help us feel better in our bodies and in our minds? And so we can step off of our mat into the world, spreading just a little bit more positivity wherever we go. Thank you for being here. Namaste.